Hi, this is Andre. ReadFX on the Loupé is a category of functionality that involves changing the playback of the loop in various ways. This is where things like reverse and pitch shift and stutter and bit reduction come into play. There's a parameter for ReadFX called Auto-Follow, and this has been a challenging concept for me to wrap my head around. The Loupé manual describes Auto-Follow in the following way. When Auto-Follow is activated, the effects head will periodically realign with the dry head position. Now, if that sounds like an abstract concept to you, I am right there with you. Part of the challenge with Auto-Follow is that it can produce very different types of results, not just based on how Auto-Follow itself is configured, but also based on how other read effects are configured and how those parameters interact with each other. So we're going to start off looking at Auto-Follow in a very basic sense, demonstrating it in the most fundamental way that I can think of. And then we're going to go on a bit of a deep dive into the rabbit hole of read effects and looking at different ways that Auto-Follow can interact with various sorts of read effects functions, both individually and as a combination. So if geeking out over read effects for half hour sounds like a good time, then please make yourself comfortable. If not, I don't blame you, and as always, I encourage you to use the timestamps to jump directly to whatever subjects are most interesting to you. Alright, here's a loop I built up off camera. The whole thing is one cycle, as you can see. And this light is going to blink at the beginning of it, so there. Keep that in mind because that's going to help us keep track of where we're at with Auto-Follow. So on the Read Effects button, I have a stutter programmed. And right now, it's just repeating that very first note in the loop for as long as we have it held down. I'm going to release it now. Now, let's say that instead of pressing it on the beginning of the loop and holding it, I'm going to press it halfway through again. So press it, and now press it halfway through. Press it there, and then press it again halfway through. So now we're getting two parts of the loop being stuttered. The one at the very beginning, and then this one halfway through there. That's basically what Auto-Follow does. It will automatically reactivate the read effects at a certain interval within the loop. So let's go into the editing. And right now, Auto-Follow's off. Let's turn it to 2 so that Auto-Follow will reactivate 2 times in the loop. Here we go. Here it comes. Beginning of the loop, and now halfway through. Now let's have it reactivate 4 times within the loop. First, second, third, fourth. There's the loop as it was. Let's keep checking out some fairly straightforward rhythms. This is 8. Now we're not hearing anything right now because Auto-Follow and Stutter are the same value, so they're kind of canceling each other out. So let's make Stutter faster. So now Auto-Follow is switching every 1/8 of the loop, but now because Stutter is set to 16, now we can hear it. If we bring Stutter back to 8, we're not going to hear anything because Auto-Follow and Stutter are going to cancel each other out. Just sounds like the normal loop. If we bring Auto-Follow to a lower value, we should hear it. So first Auto-Follow, second Auto-Follow, third Auto-Follow, fourth Auto-Follow. So let's keep Auto-Follow there. Let's bring Stutter up to 16. So first Auto-Follow, second Auto-Follow, third Auto-Follow, fourth Auto-Follow. And Stutter is set to 16, so we're basically, each stutter is lasting 1/16 of the overall loop length. Now let's try moving Auto-Follow to 8. and see how that changes things. So now auto-follow is reactivating every eighth of the loop. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And if we set auto-follow to 16, stutter and auto-follow are going to cancel each other out. So we shouldn't hear anything here. Yeah. So let's bring auto-follow to a lower value. There we go. Let's bring stutter to a higher value. So now auto-follow reactivates every eighth of the loop. So if we bring auto-follow back down to 4, it's only going to reactivate every 1/4 through the loop. Back to normal. If we bring it down to 2, we're only going to hear it 2 times through the loop. So first time, second time. Now let's explore some unconventional values of auto-follow. So far we've been doing very even stuff. 2, 4, 8, etc. Let's try triplet 2. So you can hear it's changing, not right on the downbeat, but on triplet variations of the downbeat. So you're getting a very different sound. Let's change that to a slightly faster value. Let's do quarter triplets. Let's try some other quarter-based values here. This is a dotted quarter note. And because a dotted quarter note is going to phase against a regular 4/4 rhythm, it means we're picking up a slightly different part of the loop each time. Let's try a septuplet. 3 and 4 and. Let's try a lower value. Let's try a really low value just to see what happens. So it's waiting almost the entire loop. And because it's not quite the entire loop, that means auto-follow is kind of phasing with the overall length, meaning that auto-follow is reactivating at unusual intervals within the overall length of the loop. So each time the stutter comes back in, it's grabbing a slightly different part, which can be a little tricky to predict. Alright, let's set this back to quarter notes. Let's set the stutter a lot faster. So again, now the stutters are 64th note slices of the loop, and auto-follow is set to 4, so we're reactivating stutter 4 times. And again, let's turn auto-follow off for a second. So with auto-follow off, going to save this. It's as if we're basically just pressing it and holding it down. And it's just stuttering the very beginning point of the loop. What I'm going to do now is press it at the beginning and then halfway through. So beginning, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And again, that's what auto-follow is going to do. If we turn it on, let's turn it on. Let's check out some other parameters other than stutter. I'm going to turn stutter off, I'm going to turn reverse on, and we're going to turn auto-follow off. So this will just be reversing the entire loop. So this is just pressing reverse right at the beginning of the loop. Now let's turn auto-follow to 2, so we're doing it twice. Subtle difference. Let's speed it up so it's a little more obvious. Yeah, you can hear that's very different. And to compare, we turn auto-follow all the way off. Let's put it to a higher level. Yeah, that's very different. So this is the equivalent of reactivating the ReadFX every 16th subdivision of the loop. Let's set it to a really high value. 64th quintuplets. Let's turn reverse off, and let's try pitch shift. Let's bring it down to 12, and again, let's turn auto-follow off to start with, so we can just hear it as it would regularly occur. So this is the entire loop at half speed. Now if we turn auto-follow on, let's set it to 2. Now here it comes. There we go. So auto-follow is reactivating the pitch shift halfway through the loop. And again, let's compare. There it doesn't change. But if we turn auto-follow back on, let's wait for it to come around again. First time, and here it comes again. Let's speed it up. So now it's every 4th of the loop. Let's do a really high value. So this is a really interesting effect. Do you hear how it doesn't really sound like the tempo is being changed? The pitch is being shifted, but it sounds like it's basically the same tempo. If we turn auto-follow all the way off, the pitch is dropping an octave, but everything is slow. You know, this is a classic relationship between pitch and time. So as you slow things down, pitch gets lower. As you speed things up, pitch gets higher. But if you have auto-follow set to a high enough level, it's basically here, It's as if you're reactivating ReadFX every 1/64th of the loop. And when you're doing it that quickly, and when you keep reactivating it, you're effectively retaining a lot more of the original timing of the loop. So even though we're dropping it down an octave, the overall timing is very, very similar. If we compare this to the unpitch shifted, that's an octave higher, but the tempo isn't really changing. So auto-follow can be a way of kind of hacking forms of changing the pitch without changing the time so much. If we speed this up, we'll get a slightly different variation on that. If we slow it down, you can hear we're losing some of the loop. It's doing a decent job of keeping it up, but because we're not reactivating the effect as often, because auto-follow is set to a lower value, some of the details in the loop aren't getting captured. So let's try like 32. 3 and 4 and. So that's a pretty good blend. You can still, it's a little glitchy and warbly. If we speed it up to the maximum value, 64th quintuplets. So you can kind of hear there's a little more granular stuff going on because effectively auto-follow is re-triggering the ReadFX every 64th quintuplet value of the loop. And just for comparison's sake, let's pitch it up. So this is regular. So when we do this without auto-follow, we have a classic relationship between pitch and time, which means that as the speed increases, things get faster, which is what we're hearing here. Now if we set this to a high auto-follow value, now you can hear the pitch is an octave higher, but because auto-follow is re-triggering every 64th note quintuplet of the loop, that means we're still retaining a lot more of the original tempo. And again, if we switch it to a more intermediate value, so that's kind of halfway in between. We're not getting all of the original loop details, but we're keeping the overall harmonic tempo the same. And if we increase it, again, not quite retaining all of the loop's details. So now let's crank it way up. And again, it's a more granular kind of glitchy sound, but you're also retaining the timing of the original loop much more, even though we're increasing the pitch. And now let's combine some stuff. We're going to bring auto-follow down to a lower value. And we're going to have multiple ReadFX. So let's have pitch shift plus stutter on. Let's see how this sounds. So auto-follows every 4 times. Let's change auto-follow so it only does that half. Let's increase the stutter. So now auto-follow is only changing halfway through the loop, and the stutter value is a 16th septuplet. So we're getting kind of a weird variation. Let's try 30-second notes. And again, auto-follow is 2, so we're only changing halfway through the loop from where we press the button. I'll press it right at the downbeat. 4 and. There we go. Let's crank that up. Oh, no, we don't want actual musical pitches, and let's turn that up. Bring the stutter down a little bit. again, auto-follow is set to 8, stutter is set to 8 quintuplet. So they're almost the same value, but they're definitely not lining up exactly. Let's set that to a triplet. Let's set auto-follow high and stutter pretty high. Let's try setting stutter to the same value as auto-follow. Yeah, so they're kind of canceling each other out. Let's bring auto-follow down. So now we're stuttering at 64th note quintuplets, and we're reactivating with auto-follow every 16th note septuplet. Let's try 8th triplet. And let's try 8th dotted quarters so that it phases with the length of the loop. Auto-follow at 8, stutter at regular 64th, and let's turn reverse on as well. No, not infinite reverse. And let's bring the pitch to a 5th up. Right now auto-follow is set to 8. Let's set it to slower value so it reactivates half as often. So now every 4th of the loop. Let's set it to a higher value. Now every 16th of the loop it will reactivate. 3 and 4 and... crank auto-follow up as high as it'll go. 3 and 4 and... And again, when we have auto-follow this high, you're retaining much more of the timing information of the original loop because auto-follow is reactivating so often that you're getting more of the loop intact. Let's bring stutter to... let's try stutter at 16. That's doing anything. Maybe it was doing something. It's a little hard for me to tell. Yeah, that sounds like it's doing something. Yeah. I was never good at math, so trying to predict this sort of thing is definitely not my forte. But I like the sound of it. And just for grins, let's actually get some audible musical pitches here. Let's slow auto-follow down. Let's bring pitch all the way down just to see what happens. And... oh boy. Sample and hold. Alright, let's try turning auto-follow off just to see what that sounds like. Okay. Even I'm gonna get tired of that pretty quickly. Let's try switching every fourth of the loop. 4 and again, I'm watching this LED, so let's crank it to 8 and 4 and these lights are dividing the loop into 8 slices. So with Auto-Follow at 8, it's reactivating the ReadFX at the beginning of each one of those lights. So now this is every 16th subdivision of the loop. Let's try something a little less regular. Try a very high value. Let's turn reverse off. Let's turn pitch to normal, just so we can hear what it sounds like with just this. And let's change the pitch it's stuttering on. Let's do an octave higher. Let's do very low. And let's bring Auto-Follow down a little more to make it a little more exaggerated. Quarter note quintuplets. So again, it's not going to line up with the loop downbeat, so we're getting that phasing kind of thing where it's bringing in an unpredictable fragment of the loop each time. So now let's have it change halfway through the loop. Now let's have it change dotted quarters halfway through. And let's do twice as fast as that. Twice as fast again. Twice as fast yet again. Almost. Let's keep doing the dotted. And again, Auto-Follow is so high now that we're hearing much more of the original loop character because it's re-triggering so quickly that we're retaining a lot more of the sound of the original loop. If we bring Auto-Follow off, we ain't gonna get that.